I guess I got something to say tonight. I was thinking, I was listening to Nancy Griffith, her Once in a Very Blue Moon album. It's a great album that I bought in '83 or '84, whenever it came out. And you can probably hear it in the background. A song called "Ghost in the Music." And when I was a younger adult, a much younger adult, I used to go down underneath a rail. Well, I would follow the railroad tracks to places that most people don't go, I guess, and talk to the people living under the interstate bridge there. Above them, people were going places. Below those people going places were people who felt that they weren't going anywhere. Homeless, for whatever reason. I remember one particular evening, and I paid a price for it. And I think I'm going to be honest enough to talk about it. I paid a price for it. But I went down there, and like I did quite often, actually, and they always had their little campfire. And usually it was out, but they were able to collect enough aluminum cans to get a large tin of beans, pork and beans, I guess, usually, and you'd see it go down each time you went, you know. I mean, they ate, okay, this was dinner tonight, we don't have much, and we got this, and we gotta go find some more money somewhere, so the can might have been this big, and they'd kindle the fire again in the middle of the night, normally when the police weren't around to see it, I suppose. Well, they never went back there anyways. They were pretty safe. Didn't have to worry about the vagrancy laws and all that back there. Nobody goes back there. And, well, let me stop the go. Love is a Hard Waltz is, you know, another one that's pretty good that could relate. But yeah, the bean can would go down each day, and that's what, you know, they were very careful to only eat a certain amount so they could, you know, drag a can of pork and beans out for at least 4 days and eat. And so I used to go down there and, you know, talk to them, and I'd bring some beer occasionally, you know. Usually when I went there, I would offer something up, maybe a few treats here and there, you know, some food, candies, you know, chocolates and things like that, you know. And you know, hang out with these people, and you know, every time I read an article about, well, you know, certain people don't want to work or this or that, you know, until you've been down there with them in the dirt and you shake their hands, and they got stories to tell, and you know, sometimes I wonder if maybe, you know, maybe they're living a little bit more real than we are out here if we got homes, and I do. I'm sure most people, obviously, that are watching me have homes, because if you don't have a home, probably don't have a computer and, you know, a way to put things on YouTube. So I met this one guy that night. You know, we brought some beer over there for him. I did, and then these other guys. The reason I said we is because a couple other guys wandered out of a bar that night and happened to go down the tracks where I was hanging out with the homeless people there, and because I've been there too, actually, on the streets or underneath bridges, and slept in box cars and things like that at times. Anyway, these other people, they had a little horde, you know, because it got pretty late at that point. It was after 2, the bars were closed, and so these two other individuals wandered up, and they were shaking everybody's hands too, you know. And this guy I was talking to, that was living under the bridge at the time, and you know, there were always different faces depending on when you went there and what time of the year it was. The one big thing that he had was that supposedly, and I had no reason to doubt him because of the way he was explaining it all. He had seen Elvis in 69 or 72. He couldn't quite get that straight, you know, but he said, "I saw the King, man, you know, rock and roll anyway." Really, I was all interested in that because I'm a big Elvis fan. So, tell me about it. And he told me, and what he told me, you know, I don't, you know, it couldn't have been made up. And if it was, he was pretty good at storytelling, making things up. I don't think he did, because I looked into his eyes and I saw him light up when he was talking about it. And the details he gave me, it was, I told you, buddy, I wish I'd been there. And anyway, there were others under the bridge aside from him, and so we all had a great night. Early morning so long ago. And of course the beans had been diminished since the last time I was there. That was their dinner, but they didn't eat while we were there. They were saving that for later. But we gave them a little bit of liquid courage. I did, and the other individuals, the two other individuals that lived not too far from where I did, gave them a little something to feel happy about, you know. And I'm happy about, you know, that memory. After, you know, like I said, I was sparked in here to remember that by downloading a jukebox program that showed me what I have on my computer as far as music goes, things that I've purchased. And Nancy Griffith was on there, and so I thought, well, I'm going to tell my friends about this out there on YouTube. So we had a great time, and the memories persist, and you're hearing about them now. These individuals are some of the finest human beings that I've ever met in my life. And I know a lot of society will look down on those that are downtrodden or homeless. Interchangeable terminology, I guess. Saying that they don't want to work or just don't have an ethic or something like that. It's not true at all. To those, at least, that remain under the bridges, I don't understand, maybe, although I feel sympathy for those that stand on the street all day, holding a sign for money. If they can do that, these people were recluses. The people I'm talking about, they only came out at night to collect whatever cans they could. They shunned the day, and it's like the old Scottish folk song that Stan Rogers' brother and Archie Fisher sang, Borderland. Look up Borderland. I think they have a Archie Fisher version of it solo. I believe I've favorited it somewhere, actually. And every time I hear Borderland, I think about those people. Anyway, we had a great night. I went home after shaking the one guy's hand that saw Elvis, and I believe he was the only one I shook hands with. The others didn't seem like the handshaking type, but we had a great time talking. And then not too long after that, I ended up with a staph infection, and Yeah, I'm real. I'm telling all here. It was awful. I didn't go to the hospital. I just endured it and waited for it to get over, like them under the bridge. And that guy had come up with something apparently, and just by shaking hands and then not washing them afterwards, I ended up with that. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything, and I don't look any differently. As a matter of fact, I have more sympathy for the people like that that are living the hard life, which soon, we all might be, depending on what happens. With all this new legislation and the dollar going down, I've been there, and I'm not really sure I'm making a point here, but I just want to tell a story. And somebody that I work with told me a couple of weeks ago that there was a person coming to his door talking about the stimulus and what it's doing or not doing for us, and he told him bluntly to get out of his doorway, because he said, I don't want to hear it. He said, I've been poor all my life, and everybody's talking about how bad the economy is, and it is. But from his perspective, this person I work with, it's bad for all of you people that had a better way. We've always been poor, even though we work. So, actually, things have actually gotten better for me, he said, and I found that interesting. And I got, Nancy Griffith sparked all this, like I said, and I got to thinking, it's all relative. If you never had anything to begin with, and everybody's complaining that the economy is so bad, well, we never had anything to begin with, as far as that person that I was talking about, that I work with, was saying. And that gave me a lot of food for thought. So, again, no point. I'm just sit down at my table here, or wherever I am at my desk, and just have a little conversation. You never hear me talk, rather, and you can have the conversation if you respond. I just wanted to share that for some reason. After I was listening to Nancy Griffith, I had memories come in on me, and as I said, I've slept in boxcars in the middle of winter. I would recommend a different place, because boxcars in winter are like not ovens. Ovens in the summer. I've been there too. It's still warm here, so I was thinking ovens. Yeah. Man, excuse me. In the wintertime, those boxcars like sleeping in a freezer. You don't want to do that. Don't ever do that. If you're down on your luck, you can find a better place to go. You won't last too long in there. And I would suggest you go into a major hotel, and I've done this too, at the bottom of a stairwell toward that's not traveled very often. Go all the way to the bottom and get underneath the lowest stair and put your sleeping bag there if you're lucky enough to have a sleeping bag. Do that. It's much warmer. I just wanted to talk to y'all. I had thoughts. Put them out. Hope somebody gets a relation as far as life experience goes here. I've been some pretty strange places in my life, not always by choice, sometimes by choice, and I think it's made me a more well-rounded human being. And I think that those people under the bridge, although what happened, as far as the staph infection goes, forget about that. Which also proves you don't need the medical community to bail you out every time. You can get over it, most things, with patience and endurance, and there was a lot of patience there. Anyway, Okay, I've revealed enough. Just talk.